Welcome to this episode of the Sports Detective Podcast Show. My name is James Williams, and today, Scott Frost, it's not your fault. What are we talking about? Well, right now we are in the middle of Big 12 Media Days, and new UCF head coach Scott Frost was asked, hey, what did you learn from your time coaching your alma mater, Nebraska? And you guys are not going to believe how Scott Frost decided to answer this question. I cannot believe he actually said this, guys. UCF coach Scott Frost on what he learned from Nebraska, quote, don't take the wrong job. He continues, I said I wouldn't leave UCF unless it was someplace you could win a national championship. I got tugged in a direction to try to help my alma mater and didn't really want to do it. It wasn't a good move. I'm lucky to get back to a place where I was a lot happier. I cannot believe he decided to answer the question this way, because if it were me, this is how I would answer the question. Even if I didn't believe it, I would say, hey, I know obviously things at Nebraska didn't go the way that I wanted it to go and the way that fans wanted to go there. I just wanted to win so bad that I just tried to do everything. I tried to do the game plans for the offense and the defense. I tried to do play calling. I tried to do recruiting, and it was just too much for me to juggle. And for me at UCF now, I'm going to delegate a lot more responsibilities to my wonderful assistants. I'm going to have a lot more trust in all of my players here. And that's a way that you can answer it where, and I mean, most coaches can probably answer that a lot more eloquently than I just did there. But it's a way that it's not going to catch a lot of headlines. It's not going to make a lot of news. And you're looking forward to the future, right? And you're also not having any bad blood, with your alma mater. And this really made me think about the Scott Frost tenure at Nebraska. And this is going to sound crazy, but as far as like roster construction went at Nebraska, it wasn't a complete disaster. I mean, you can look at the record and they were like, 14 and 31 or 15 and 31 over his 2 years there. And you look at that record and you're like, oh my God, that's absolutely abysmal. They were absolutely terrible under Scott Frost. And that's partly true. But I remember heading into his last full year as the head coach, because obviously his last year he just coached 3 games. ESPN had their football power index around this time of the year, actually, and they had all of the Big Ten West teams heading into that season, and they had Nebraska as the number 1 team that year. And now I'm not saying that like, hey, Nebraska had all of these NFL guys and they had this absolutely loaded roster, but that was the thing that always happened in the Scott Frost era at Nebraska. Every single year, they just underachieved. And that just kept happening over and over again. And to give you guys a little bit of reminder of some of the stuff that was going on at Nebraska, or see some of the low light stats you guys can now see on your screen. Scott Frost at Nebraska went 0-13 versus AP top 25 teams. He was 5-22 in one-score games. He got to his 5th season despite a 15-29 start, and he never beat Iowa. And the thing about Iowa too, guys, you guys can obviously see the Iowa State thing behind me. I know Nebraska people in my life. I know Iowa people in my life. I watch that Iowa-Nebraska game every single year, and it seems like every time they play, Iowa is always trying to lose that game, and they never do. Iowa's playing one of their worst games of the year, and Nebraska all of a sudden finds themselves in a chance to win, and then they never do. And I really want to focus on the one-score games at Nebraska for Scott Frost, because that was a thing that defined his tenure there. And that 5-22 record, that's 18% in one-score games. Because if you listen to a lot of college football experts that try to predict and project for records in, this upcoming season, a lot of times they use this as a data point to try and project into the future. They look at one-score games. Hey, did you win more one-score games than you lost one-score games? Were you even? Because, theoretically, you would like to think that every single team is going to end up being 50-50 for the most part. For example, if you go 5-1 in one-score games and you're a 9-3 team, more than likely your talent might be like a 7-5 team, or vice versa. I think you guys understand what I'm saying. And that was the thing with Scott Frost that was always so frustrating, because 5-22 in one-score games. I remember when he got fired. Bruce Feldman went on Ryan Russillo's podcast, and they were talking about the Scott Frost tenure, and he gave us this incredible tidbit of insight from Scott Frost, the game day head coach, where a lot of times late in games, Scott Frost would just take over play calling for the offense. And when he would do that, he would start calling plays that the team had not practiced that week. So after hearing that, I was like, oh, this makes a lot more sense that when I'm watching Nebraska every single week and you're like, oh my God, are they finally going to finish this game? Are they finally going to get a win? And then they do a play and then everyone looks like they don't know what they're doing on that play. And you're like, oh, that's why that team always looked not well coached and unprepared, because they were not well coached and not well prepared. Like, you have to game plan that stuff. You need to have those strategies during the course of the week. Like, hey, there's might be a situation where there's 50 seconds left. We don't have any timeouts. Clock's running down. It's 3rd and 14. We got to go. We got to have a 4th and short situation with 1 timeout, 1:22 left in the game. Right? These are things that teams prepare for during the week, and that separates the smart teams for the dumb teams. And Nebraska, in Scott Frost's tenure there, was always one of the dumb teams. So did Scott Frost just not pick the right job, or did he just not do a good job? I mean, this is a thing. This is a quote here that you're listening to Scott, or I guess you're reading Scott Frost say, and you're kind of wondering, dude, did you learn anything? Did you learn anything from your failure at Nebraska? Did you learn, hey, maybe I shouldn't do stuff like that? Maybe I should delegate a lot more. Maybe I should do things better in recruiting. Because again, you watch these Nebraska, again, they didn't have NFL guys. They didn't have, like this insane amount of talent. Their recruiting classes weren't crazy. There was no Dylan Raiola there at that time. But they had talent to go to bowl games. They had talent on maybe the right year, if the ball bounces the right way, to maybe flirt with a Big Ten West title game. And that's how you gradually build a program. Because when he got there, it was a joke. And when he left, it was still a joke. If anything, it was a bigger joke. And it was defined by these 1-score losses. And then every single time you're watching Nebraska, you get to see Scott Frost with his face on the sideline going like, and you keep seeing these Wendy's commercials every game, and you're like, the way he's wearing his red hat and his black polo, it looks like he's working at Wendy's instead of coaching this game. So, hey, man, I love this quote. Scotty, keep giving us content. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Because, again, it was Nebraska fans will tell you this. If you're a UCF fan watching this, Nebraska fans will tell you this. Those teams just over and over and over again just kept screwing up every single 1-score game. Now, again, all 1-score games aren't created equal. Like, technically, Indiana in the college football playoff lost in a 1-score game to Notre Dame, but it really wasn't a 1-score game if you watched it. But 5-22 in 1-score games, let's see. We'll see. We'll see how it works here. I don't have high hopes. UCF fans. The one thing too about him saying, well, I would only leave UCF for a program that could win a national championship. I'm going to trigger some UCF fans. I'm just asking the question. If that's the case, that he said, oh, well, I would only leave for a place that you can win national championship. If you guys don't know with UCF lore, UCF claims the 2017 national championship, the year that Scott Frost, his last year there, where they went 12-0, and I believe they beat Auburn or something in the Peach Bowl. They claim that as a national championship. They have 2017 national champions hanging up in their stadium. Does that mean Scott Frost doesn't think that he won the national championship in 2017? I'm just saying. I'm throwing it out there. I'm asking the question. I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if UCF fans are still really passionate about that. But I know some UCF fans are very sensitive about that when you say they didn't win a national championship in 2017. I just wanted to throw that out there for you guys. Leave me your thoughts in the comments on that. That's going to do it for this episode here today. Thank you so much for watching. If you got this far in the video, please hit like, please hit subscribe, please leave a comment. Doing those 3 things, mostly subscribing, is the best thing that you can do to help support this channel. It costs you absolutely $0, and it helps propel us into this crazy YouTube algorithm. So thank you very much for watching. I love you guys. We'll talk to you next time.